My name is David Harris, and I am in my 40th year of being in this travel industry, and it's a passion, to say the least. And even more incredibly, I think, is just the fact that I've only ever worked in this industry. So pretty happy to be that person.
Welcome to Voices of Travel, The Next Chapters, an interview series that captures the passion, humor, and character of 15 remarkable people as they tell us the stories of their careers in the industry. Thanks for joining me, David. I know you're referring to yourself as retired for now, but you've been an agency owner for over 35 years. And from 2019 to 2023, you were the CEO, Executive Chairman for Ensemble. Quite the career, and I'm hoping you can cast your mind back to when you started out and tell me about your first job in the industry.
Wow. So you're touching on a lot of things here. I mean, first, that my memory's still intact, but I'm going to say that my first job was actually at my parents' travel agency. They were 2 years into a Gallagher's travel franchise. I know this is brand agnostic, but it was a franchise business, and from there, I took on responsibilities that went from being as a corporate sales manager to an advisor, leisure advisor, corporate advisor, then eventually an owner, and evolved through the business over the course of 40 years.
Did you have a mentor, David? Someone who influenced your career?
You know, I've had a lot of I've been fortunate enough to have a lot of mentors over the years, but I'm going to say that the one person that I would say drove me to new levels was a fellow by the name of Dick Landis. And Dick was a founder of a company called TAMS, Travel Agency Management Systems, which still exists today under new ownership, different ownership, and fundamentally what was created in that platform still survives today, and I consider Dick Landis a close personal friend as a result.
I'm going to ask you to cast your mind back to your early days in the business. What was it like 40 years ago? How is it different from today?
Well, the industry of 40 years ago was the wild, wild west. It was fabulous. It was 8.25% on domestic airline tickets. It was 9% on international. It was 10% on transborder. What? I mean, it was wonderful. But it was also a time when we had tickets, and that meant just a whole different treatment, a whole different protocol in the agency perspective, where we issued tickets, we changed tickets, we delivered tickets, we collected tickets that needed to be refunded. It was a very different time from that perspective. Service-wise, that has not changed. The need for the advisor and the agency remains today. In fact, I would say today is even more valuable and important than it was 40 years ago.
Over the course of 4 decades, you've certainly seen a lot of changes in the business. What's the biggest one you've seen, and how has it impacted on the retail industry?
I think in terms of change in the industry, and the most significant changes, I'm coming through what we've all been dealing with these last 3 years now, almost 4, is a change in business acumen, and I'll try to be more specific about that. People need to be thinking all the time. And I think we were complacent for a long time, and complacency is dead. If you're complacent, you're going to get past. But I think what's changed is how the whole ecosystem relies on one another. Whereas previously the ecosystem, there were different verticals within the system, whether it was air, was hotel, cruise, tour, or agencies. Each one of them operated fairly independently of the other. I mean, that's a stretch to suggest that, but what's changed so much is over the course of the last 3 years is just how that ecosystem has come to rely on everyone in the ecosystem in order to perform at its optimal.
Have the changes you've seen been for the better or worse, David?
Well, I think the industry has, like any business, it evolves. And as I said earlier, if it's standing still, it's not progressing, it's not developing the way a healthy business should. So I think it's good. I think change is good. Change is important.
What about the role of consortia? What kind of impact have they had on the business? And has the role of consortia changed over the years?
With respect to consortium in particular, they are an absolutely critical component to a healthy and vibrant ecosystem in travel. And more specifically, we have agencies in the industry, very few now, that are unaffiliated. And without that, they lack the opportunities to have strength in their supplier agreements, to have technology opportunities, to have marketing opportunities, events and participation, and just general training and access to things that a real professional needs to have. So I view the consortium as facilitators, really important, critical facilitators in the model, and a strong conduit as well to the broader audience and being able to do things that just simply aren't possible on the smaller scale. No disrespect to agencies, big or small, but in the collective sense, the aggregated opportunities with a consortium are just far more superior than they will be for an individual agency business.
Do you have any advice for someone who's thinking about a career in travel?
Oh, what a great question. Advice on people with interest in travel should be at the forefront of consideration for so many reasons. Yes, there are some negatives, but I'm not going to focus on the negatives. The positives are the opportunity that exists in this travel business. There are very few people I've met, and I'm sure yourselves included, that would say that they're not interested in travel. Is it just a wanderlust conversation, or is it something that truly improves the quality of life for people who appreciate the importance of travel? And I would say unequivocally that it is the latter. It is 100% a fact that people who travel are more enriched, they are more giving, they're more understanding, they're more appreciative. I realize it's not always possible for everybody to travel, but in reality, it is just, it's something that shouldn't be overlooked. And for those that are considering it as a career, this is the time. There has never been a better opportunity in travel than there is today for young or older folks to get involved in the industry. What they have to understand is that it's a commitment to the role that's going to make them either a success or not as successful. And there are plenty of people who have that drive within to want to be entrepreneurial and explore the world, and through their clients provide service that's valuable. I think it is such an important time in the evolution of our industry.
So in 10 years, David, what will the travel industry look like?
Wow, 10 years from now, travel industry. I think we're going to see the quality of the advisor, the importance of the quality of the advisor and the information that they share with consumers is only going to increase. In other words, the demands by consumers are going to increase as prices increase, as difficulty around regulatory concerns when traveling, restrictions and the like. While all of that can and should be those should be things that can be communicated over a web portal. There's no single web portal in existence for our travel industry. There never has been, there never will be. That will not change. And I really feel that the human element is just critical to ensuring that the health of our industry remains, and that consumers also continue to have a healthy appetite for travel and just being able to enjoy the experience and not fear the unknown or fear things that could lead the conversation into a different direction or the experience into a different direction.
David, thanks for telling us your story. And thanks to all of you for joining me for this episode. I'm Bob Mowat, Executive Editor of Canadian Travel Press, and I hope you'll join me for another remarkable conversation on Voices of Travel, the next chapters.